So let's look at how we might troubleshoot when we're getting errors on configuring the dashboard. As you can see here, it says that the refresh failed. If you click on connect to data and you're still trying to do the same thing again, it will continue to fail unless you fix the underlying issue. So first, be sure that the token that you've generated has access to all the APIs that you need. You can use a curl, you can use Postman or Insomnia to troubleshoot. All you need to do is to replace this enterprise with your enterprise slug, for example, and try to call this API using the authorization of the bearer token that you have, and use that to test. Yeah, or you can use the GitHub API on the CLI as well to test if the API is working. So be sure to test for all the 5 APIs, right? Be sure to test for all these 5 APIs. There are also some troubleshooting tips, but we'll get into that. So what error message am I getting? I can't tell what exactly is wrong with this. So to troubleshoot, you click on go back. When you're back on the app page, you can see the current version of the app that you've installed. For every app you've installed, there is a corresponding workspace. So you go to the corresponding workspace for the Copilot metric here. So when you click on workspaces, you'll find it in the list. Go to that workspace and you would see that little icon here showing you there is an error with the refresh. Click on that. It's going to give you a pop-up message, and you can click on the details and you'll see the exact error that is related to the Power BI app. This currently tells me there's something wrong with the credential. So it's likely because my token had expired or something similar. So you want to look at that and compare that to the troubleshooting tips on the instructions page on the gist. Some of the ones you have in the troubleshooting tips, it might say, oh, the expression referenced a relationship between this and that has failed. How can you fix this? Another error message might be that the column in table Y contains duplicate value. So to tell you the table name, and it's not allowed in the many-to-one relationship. So it's likely that you're not running the latest version. Make sure you upgrade the app to, as at the time of this video, it's version 26. Another error message might be, oh, there are some filtered rows and you're having some problems combining data. This has to do with when you're combining the 2 partitions of data. So it's possible that you didn't specify public in your privacy level. You can go back to set that. So how can you configure the settings after you've installed this? Let's try to fix the error first. So based on my error message, I'm going to try to fix that now with a token. All right. I was troubleshooting my API and it looked like I was choosing the wrong enterprise slug. So one thing you can do, how can you configure the dashboard after you might have installed it? You would find 2 items in the workspace. There is the report and then the semantic model. The report itself is the report file where all the visualizations have been designed. The semantic model itself is the underlying data, which means you can connect this with any other underlying data that you have in Power BI. So let's say your dashboard, you want to marry it with other developer metrics that you're getting in your enterprise or from other platforms. You can share this semantic model with other sources. So I'm going to go in here and click on settings for the semantic model, and you can update the parameters that you have. So for example, I have null here. I have this as my enterprise. I can change this to this, for example, and apply that. I can also update the credentials. So let's say the username or the token expired. You can come here and update the token and just paste the token in there. Leave this as public, and then you sign in as mentioned before. One other thing that you may want to configure here is the refresh. You can specify the refresh time zone. I'm in Sydney at the moment. Let's say you want this to refresh daily. You can also specify which times of the day that you want this to refresh. You can add multiple times in a day, for example. But bear in mind that your refresh is going to be hitting your API. When you're making API call, this is counting up. Or you can change this, as the case may be, to a different refresh rate. So maybe I only want to refresh this twice in a week. Yeah, and then you can specify maybe an off-peak period when you want things to work. If you want to send refresh failures to specific teams of people, maybe you have a different Power BI team that manages that, different from the GitHub team. You can set up your refresh, and once you do that, yeah, that's it. So we can then go back to refreshing this. So I go back to the workspace and I click on refresh now. Again, depending on the size of your enterprise, depending on the number of organizations you have, and how many pages the API has to come through, will determine how long it will take for the refresh to work. Fingers crossed, this will work fine. Let's give it some minutes and come back to it. Okay, let's look at how what the dashboard looks like. It looks like my refresh is working fine, and I can see my last refresh date. I can directly click on this or open the app directly. You can also update some things about the app itself. Let's say you want to rename this. You can go to the workspace settings, for example, and just say Copilot Metrics, say Platform Engineering Department or something. Yeah, it's updated already. Yeah, perfect. So um, every time that you open up the app, uh, it should look like this, or you can directly also go to the apps under the apps tab and open up the app. And that's it.